So now we're going to learn some of the very basic first techniques for left and right hand. We're going to learn how to use a pick. We'll look at using your fingers just a little bit, especially the thumb. And we're going to learn some counting and some first notes. So Bill, let's start with how to hold a pick.
Sure. If you have your pick, and what you want to do is always have a very relaxed right hand. So I'm just going to place the pick, curve the fingers slightly, and then just lightly hold the thumb in place. And when you place your right hand on the guitar, the bout of the guitar, which is this part right here, is where you rest your elbow. And when in picking on the strings and playing them, just like this 6th string, you just gently let the pick go through the string, and it'll sit right on the 5th string, the string below it. And the open strings are fairly, easy to play. So it's a motion from the elbow coming through the string. It's almost like a paintbrush playing the note.
And you go right into that next string.
I'm just not making a sound.
Because I've seen people do this where they go out here. We don't want that.
No,
right down.
We don't want to waste any motion. We just want to go right through to that string. Now to play the pitches on the 6th string, and we have the pitch of F and G. Now you'll notice that there are frets right here, and a lot of people don't realize the best place to play the note to get a good sound is right behind the fret. We don't want to put our fingers in the middle of the fret, and at this point we're going to play the note F, and we're going to use our first finger in the left hand. One thing I like to do when you're first looking at the guitar is to wrap your hand completely around the neck, almost like a baseball grip, and then relax your hand, and your fingers will form a arch. Aaron likes to say perpendicular to the guitar. So I don't want a flat finger because you can bump the other strings and not get a clear tone. So with this arch, I'm just going to put right behind the fret, use the same right hand technique. There's my F note. And then if I repeat that with the 3rd finger, so we can see 1st fret, 1st finger, 3rd fret, 3rd finger. This is the G right behind the fret. So now I have 3 notes we're looking at on the 6th string. E, open, F, G, F, and open E.
Hey Bill, you were talking about placing your finger directly behind the fret. I just kind of wanted to demonstrate what happens if you don't, because it's really common.
You get to be the bad guitarist.
I get to be the bad guitarist. There's the goofus and the gallant.
Yeah.
So if you place your finger, like Bill was saying, directly behind the fret, you tend to get a clear tone. And actually, it doesn't take a whole lot of strength that way. That's probably the easiest place to put your finger. If you place it too far behind the fret, okay? So this is what I mean by behind the fret. I'm going too far away. A couple things can happen. First of all, it takes a lot of strength now to hold the string down. Second of all, I could actually bend the string out of tune. And third, because it takes so much strength, it'll probably sound like this. The string is rattling because I'm not holding it in a good position. So I move that finger just behind the fret. Now if I go too far and go on top of the fret by accident, now, because I'm on top of the fret, the string is actually muted and it doesn't make a clear sound. So the ideal is always to get right behind the fret, like Bill was saying. And we'll talk a lot about fingers being perpendicular and hands being arched, because that's really critical, because on the guitar, if you're playing one note at a time, you can get away with some poor habits, but on guitar we don't play one note at a time. We play chords pretty much all the time, which means we have to allow all the notes to ring, and if our fingers aren't just right, we just interfere with those other strings. One thing else before we play, let's talk about counting, okay? Music virtually always has a really, really steady beat, and you'll see people tapping their foot. And we're going to start with what we call quarter notes, and a quarter note gets 1 count, which is 1 beat, or 1 tap of your foot. So for example, here would be steady quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to add something to that. We're going to use what we call divided counting. In between each count, I'm going to say the word and. That's really useful for several reasons. It keeps a perfect space, in between the counts, keeps them perfectly aligned. Plus, eventually we're going to be using that as part of our technique to play faster notes called eighth notes. So if I count in between, it'll be like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the and is always as my foot or my hand, whatever they can see, is on the up. Bill, how about if you play and I count? Just play open E.
Okay, great.
All right, ready? 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Perfect. So the notes are very steady, the rhythm is very steady, and we're saying and in between. Let's demonstrate line number 2, which is called first notes. And in this one, the students are going to be playing the first 3 notes that you showed. I'll play the teacher part, which is the first measure, and then every other measure. And Carly and Bill, you guys play the student part, which is the second measure, and then every other measure. We're all going to count out loud as we do this. I'll count for my part, you guys count for your part.
And another important thing is you're going E, F, G, so we're following the alphabet.
Right.
As we go up on the notes.
There's a logical sequence here. We're learning the notes in sequence, in order. Okay, I'm going to count to 4, and then we'll start. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and.
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 You guys got the gig?
Okay, good. All right. Sign
Okay.
me up.
All right, thanks.